Hello, please take the time to leave a meaningful comment. Click the like button, the notify bell and subscribe buttons. Thank you. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 161, The Curious Case of the Missing Post. Maria loved her morning routine. Each day she'd wake up to the chirping of birds outside her window, make a strong cup of coffee, and head out to check her mailbox. She enjoyed the anticipation, the small thrill of a handwritten letter from a friend or a postcard from a faraway land. Today, however, something was different. The red mailbox at the end of the street, usually overflowing with envelopes and flyers, stood curiously empty. Maria blinked, then double-checked. Not a single scrap of paper peeked out of the slot. Intrigued, Maria approached her neighbours, a retired couple named Mr. and Mrs. Higgins. "Good morning," she greeted, her voice laced with concern. "Have you seen our mail?" Mr. Higgins, a portly man with a neatly trimmed beard, shook his head slowly. "Not a single letter, my dear. Most unusual, wouldn't you say?" He adjusted his spectacles and peered down the street at the empty mailbox. Mrs. Higgins, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun, chimed in. "Indeed, perhaps the postie is having a spot of trouble with his bike." She patted her small, fluffy dog, a white poodle named Pip, who barked in agreement. The thought sparked curiosity in Maria. A missing post delivery wouldn't normally be a big deal, but the complete absence of any mail was strange. Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Maria suggested, "Why don't we check with our other neighbours?" The next 2 hours were spent buzzing from door to door. Every resident of the street had the same story: empty mailboxes. There was young David, an aspiring musician with a mop of curly hair, and Mrs. Sanchez, a kind elderly woman who always had fresh pastries baking in her kitchen. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, the group of neighbours gathered on Mrs. Higgins' porch, a mix of confusion and worry etched on their faces. Just then a young girl with a bright red bicycle came zooming down the street. This was Emily, known for her boundless energy and insatiable curiosity. "Did you hear?" she exclaimed, skidding to a stop in a cloud of gravel. "There's been an accident at the post office." This news sent a wave of relief through the group. An accident explained the missing deliveries. However, Emily had more to share. "Apparently, a big gust of wind blew open the sorting room doors and papers went flying everywhere." She giggled. "They're calling it the Great Post Office Paper Chase." A collective chuckle washed over the neighbours. The situation wasn't quite so concerning anymore. It seemed like a harmless mishap. "Looks like we'll just have to wait a bit longer for our mail," Mr. Higgins chuckled, scratching Pip's head. Maria, ever the optimistic one, chimed in. "Maybe we can have an impromptu neighbourhood get-together tonight. No letters to read, just good company." The idea was met with enthusiastic nods and smiles. Mrs. Sanchez volunteered to bring her famous empanadas, while David offered to play some tunes on his guitar. The missing mail, it seemed, had inadvertently brought everyone together. As the neighbours began planning their impromptu gathering, a sense of community bloomed on the quiet street. The mystery of the missing post faded into an amusing anecdote, replaced by the warmth of shared laughter and the promise of a fun night together. The chirping of crickets replaced the usual clatter of mailboxes, and under the warm glow of fairy lights strung across Mrs. Higgins's porch, a new tradition was born: neighbourly gatherings sparked by the curious case of the missing post. Vocabulary notes: chirping, verb, the high-pitched sound that small birds make. Anticipation, noun, the feeling of excitement or eagerness about something that is going to happen. Thrill, noun, a feeling of excitement or pleasure. Intrigued, adjective. Interested in something in a way that makes you want to know more about it. Portly, adjective. Slightly fat. Spectacles, noun. Another word for glasses. Fluffy, adjective. Soft and covered in thick hair or fur. Barks, verb. The short, loud sound a dog makes. Buzzing, verb. Moving quickly and busily from one place to another. Mop, noun. A thick bunch of hair or wool attached to a long handle used for cleaning floors. Elderly, adjective. Old. Horizon, noun. The line where the sky and the earth seem to meet. Relief, noun. A feeling of happiness or comfort that comes when something unpleasant stops. Gust, noun. A sudden strong blast of wind. Sorting room, noun. A room in a post office where mail is sorted and separated for delivery. Harmless, adjective. Not causing any injury or damage. Impromptu, adjective. Done without being planned beforehand. Empanadas, noun. A savoury pastry filled with meat, cheese or vegetables. Giggle, verb. To laugh in a quiet, high-pitched way. Clatter, noun. A loud, noisy sound. Fairy lights, noun. Small decorative lights often used outdoors. Antidote, note not used in the story. The opposite of something unpleasant. Something that makes something bad better. Story written by Google Bard AI. Image created by Desgo.com AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.